Hello and welcome to Module 3, which I entitle Working with People. Having already asked you in Module 1 to reflect on your risk mindset, thinking about risk aversion and risk taking and what positive risk taking means, we moved on in Module 2 to look at some of the practical tools around working with risk. And that one focused on risk assessment amongst other ideas. So this is the point that I want to ask you, think for a moment. You don't work in isolation. I know some of you are already saying to me, well, actually, Steve, yes, there are times it is just me. When we're talking about the challenge in risk decisions, then my suggestion to you is, yes, in a crisis situation, you might well be challenged to make a very sudden and immediate decision. You might well be on your own doing that. And I hope throughout the whole of this course that it provides you with some of the underlying thinking and some of the prompts and tools that will support you in those particular moments. But much of the time, we are collaborating with other people. We are working with people. And confidence and clarity around some of our risk decisions will be improved by having those extra pairs of eyes, those extra ears listening, the extra mouths talking, basically by collaborating and working with other people. So across this module, I want to first of all remind you that, as with all the other modules, when we think about working with people, our value base is an important starting point. What our values and principles are, and how we think about relating to other people. And I will certainly use one of the early videos in this module to look at what we mean by person-centered working, person-centered practice. But I also want to remind you that in working with people, we do need to abide by certain constraints, maybe. We need to think in terms of accountability, responsibility, confidentiality, working with people around their mental capacity, particularly if it's supporting people to be making their own decisions. I will touch on culture and race in relation to risk assessment, albeit very briefly. I'm not going to put myself out there as an expert in that area, but again, as I will emphasize in one of the videos, I think if you apply the messages throughout a strengths approach, thinking about everybody from a person-centered perspective, then that's a good start in terms of managing some of the cultural, racial, gender issues that might emerge when we're thinking about the constructs around risk. I will also go on to separate out the engagement of the individual. So when we're thinking about working with people, it's primarily the service user, client, patient, student, depending on the area of work that you're involved in. It's the person that you're working with, the person that you're serving. But we also work in teams. We work in teams, groups of people. So it could be a defined, named team that you're part of, or it could be, like in the case of my brain injury case management work, where as the overall coordinator, having assessed somebody's needs, I then look to see which individuals from which professional backgrounds, which the nature of what kind of support a person needs. And for a defined period of time, I'll create a team of individuals, bring them together, working as a team. So when I use that phrase team, that can mean different things. I also, in this module, I also want to touch on things like negotiation. That's going to be important. How do we compromise with people to get some of what the person we're serving really wants? And going back to thinking about teams, how we organise ourselves, and the dreaded team meetings. I'll touch briefly on the idea of meetings and how we organise those. How can we do those as effectively as possible? As in all other parts of the course, I want this to be a very practical resource for you. So this is a module that will deal with a number of concepts, but there will be, as in others, other resources that I'll be referring to, and I hope that some of those will appear as tools that you'll be able to look at, think about, apply, whether that's mental tools as checklists or otherwise. And as in all parts of the course, it's video based, but you'll be able to download the videos, you'll be able to download the audios. I will be doing an edited version of the narratives that run through all of these videos. Though for some of you already, you might have been entertained by the quirks and the foibles of the transcript that appears as I talk on some of the videos. That's why I'm doing an edited narrative. This software is good, but it doesn't pick up me or probably just about anybody that's recording with 100% accuracy. So you will find that in the resources section as well. So with that said, welcome to Working with People.